as a realtor, my job is to not only educate you on how you can obtain a property, how you grow your legacy, how do you generate wealth through real estate. It really means that I have to also teach you on how to protect your investment.
Hi everyone, this is Raina Carrillo with Purpose and Passion on Luxe Media Studios, and we're in the beautiful city of Inglewood. And before I start this interview, make sure to go to YouTube to Luxe Media Studios. I want you to subscribe, like, and comment. Support us, okay? Well, we got a beautiful lady that I call the Relocation Queen because, man, she's going to tell you the journey of real estate and what she's doing out of state. That's dope, huh? Real estate out of state. Hey! Well, we got Miss Beautiful Linda Gonzales in the building. She does real estate and life insurance. So I'm excited to chop it up with you today because you know I'm all about women empowerment. And I'm just so happy for you to be on Purpose and Passion talking about educating, empowering, and teaching awareness to our viewers today.
Yes. Oh my God. Thank you so much, first of all, for having me. I love and admire you. I love your energy. I feel like we connected from the first moment we met.
Yes.
I mean, not only because we're not too far, we grew up not too far from each other, and we just have a lot in common. I feel like I can talk
the curly
to you
hair,
yes,
the beautiful smiles.
Yeah. Power to the curlies, because you know it's rare when women have curly hair and or leave it curly.
Definitely. We tend to want to flat iron it and make it straight. But you know what I tell my husband all the time? You're dating two women at one time. He's like, what's that mean? I said, you get curly Raina and you get straight Raina.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, I want you to take our viewers down memory lane. Where are your parents from? Where were you born and raised?
Well, my mom was born from in Juarez, but she was raised here in Compton. So she was brought here when she was 2 years old. Was raised in Compton, and we were raised there. Moved to Long Beach when I was about 15.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I claim Long Beach.
That's right, LBC. Watch out, Snoop Dogg. We got Relocation Queen up in the building.
And so I grew up not too far. Like I said, I grew up in Compton. My mom still goes to church, Hosanna Apostolic Church in Compton. And, you know, it's a place that I still come to visit. You can't forget where you came from. You know?
You always remember your roots. Yes, definitely. That is beautiful. So did you go to any schools in Compton?
I went to Martin Luther King in Compton, and we were going to go to Bunch across the street, but I was not ready for it, and I was always fighting, and I got homeschooled. Not homeschooled, but they forced me to be, you know, at home because I was fighting all the time. It was just
protecting yourself. Did they bully you because you were beautiful? Was that the problem?
I don't know what it was, but I was always fighting. It was just, you know, a chip on my shoulder, I guess. And yeah, and then I went to Long Beach. We were in the principal's office all the time for the same reason. But yeah, I mean, I went to high school in Jordan High.
What? Jordan High in Long Beach.
Jordan
that
High
big,
in Long
beautiful
Beach.
School. You see it off the 91 freeway.
Exactly.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Yeah. So when you were in high school, was your dream to be in real estate, or what was your dreams? You know how they ask you, what's your dreams? You know, in second grade, I literally said, I want to be a ballerina and the president of the United States. Yeah. I don't know how that happened, but that's what I said in second grade. Yes. And obviously it changed, right, in high school.
I've always knew that I wanted more, right? So I had all these different dreams and goals. It was always something that I wanted to be a dancer. I wanted to be a detective, which I'm a big crime junkie, so I still listen. Go to sleep listening to Crime Junkie show. I love listening to all of that stuff. So as growing up, I wanted to be a detective. I wanted to be a social worker because I grew up for a little bit in foster care. I went to foster care for about 3 years.
How was that?
You know what? There was a lot of experiences that I went through there too. Some good, some bad. When I was in the foster care, one of the young ladies who was older than I was tried to drown me in the pool there. And it was very traumatic for me.
Wow. How old were you?
I went to foster care when I was 7. And when I was 10, my aunt took me in as her foster daughter. So I lived with her
Wow.
for about a year and a half.
So you were young when you experienced somebody trying to kill you in the water.
Mm-hmm.
My God, that's very
Yeah,
traumatic.
somebody
Wow.
found, so he heard me screaming, my foster grandparent, it was grandma and grandpa, and he heard me and heard us the commotion, and one of the other girls was screaming, and I didn't know how to
Yes.
swim, so it was
Yes.
very traumatic. But thank God he got there in time, got me out of there, and they unfortunately they sent her to juvie, and but it was a good thing for me, but I felt bad for her too, you know.
Yes,
Hmm.
because obviously she has some hitting triggers and trauma in herself to want to do something so evil. I mean,
Yeah,
just point blank. Obviously
yeah,
there's some things that she didn't get a chance to heal or deal with, and whatever
exactly.
it was, she was taking it out on you. You know what
Hmm.
I mean?
Hmm.
Oh my gosh. Well, man, that makes me feel like you know my one of my stories in the water was I was a part of the YMCA in Inglewood,
Hmm.
and they tell you to jump in the water, and finally we got to the deep part, and it was I think 12 feet, and I jumped in the water and I never came back up.
Oh
I
my
just
God.
remember waking up with like water coming out of my nose and my mouth. And do you know, like, I'll go to the ocean and put my feet in, but I'll never go all the way in because I have issues with water.
Oh my God.
Like, I take a shower, of
Yeah.
course. But
But
trauma with
yeah,
like swimming in the
swimming.
ocean, or a lake, I'm just
Hmm.
like, nah, man.
Yeah.
That kind of traumatized me, just to just see everything happen. Like when you're going down, you could see, you could
Hmm.
see light and everything. So
Yeah.
yeah, that
It was
so
it was traumatic, but there was also good stories in there too. That I
yes.
still remember grandma and grandpa just always being kind to me. I wish I could
Yes.
have stayed in touch or figured out a way to be in touch with them, but
Yes.
they were really good people.
Wow.
And then my mom's aunt took me in as her foster daughter, and so I
Yes.
lived with her for a couple of years before she passed away from complications with diabetes.
Yes, yes,
Hmm.
yes. Wow. Well, the blessing is, that you were able to live with your relative
Hmm.
versus, people you don't know.
Hmm.
Man, see, this is something I didn't know about you.
Hmm.
Wow. So definitely, like, I work with certain organizations, and I would love for you, to speak in the future of this year with foster kids, to share your
Hmm.
testimony as being a
Hmm.
foster kid and where you're at now, so
Yes.
they know that sometimes people put that stigma like, oh, you're a foster kid, you're not worth anything, you can't do nothing. But in
Hmm.
reality, you could do anything. It doesn't make you different from any other child. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
I would love to connect with you on that. And thank you for being vulnerable and opening up, because on purpose and passion, it's about things that is not always all sunshine and rainbows. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Hmm.
Life is real, and we're going to go through ups and downs,
Exactly.
good and bad, and it kind of builds our character on the way, right? Because
Yes.
now look at you, a
Yeah.
successful woman
Thank you.
traveling the world. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's
Yeah.
inspiring.
There is something that one of my relatives said that really stayed with me all these years.
Yes.
Um, they were talking about me in my grandmother's house, and I was in the other room. And he was talking to my mom and talking about, you should take care of your daughter, making sure that, you watch her because of what happened to her. Most
Mm-hmm.
likely, she's going to end up leaving with the first guy. She's going to end up
Yes.
pregnant at a young age. And I remember just sitting back there and I was like, I will never do that. Like, I'm
Yeah.
going to make sure that I accomplish whatever, everything that I want to accomplish so that
Yes.
I could, never prove him right.
Mm-hmm.
And it really hurt me, but it was that his words were the enemy that I needed to
Yes.
keep me going.
Yes.
Instead of holding me back, I made sure that I used his words to keep me going.
Now I'm literally knowing why we connect, because there's so much similarities. And
Hmm.
like when I got into that era of being in the sixth grade, hanging around the wrong crowd, I had a relative tell my mom that, Raina's hanging around with the gangsta cholos, and she's gonna end up pregnant. She's gonna
Mm,
have like four baby daddies. She's gonna go to prison, or she's gonna be with somebody from prison, and she's not gonna graduate. She's not gonna be successful. That kind of stuff,
no hope.
and no hope for me.
Hmm.
And so when I did everything that they said I wasn't gonna do, I barely graduated, but I graduated. I walked that stage. So it's kind of like a big, F you,
Yeah.
without saying
Yeah.
F you,
Yeah.
right? And then when I went to college and got that AA degree, it was kind of like another bird flipping, and
Mm-hmm.
then bachelor's degree, another bird flipping. And then I got married. I got
Mm-hmm.
married, and my mom and my dad always told me, like, we've made mistakes because we were young parents, but all we want you to do is just graduate from high school, get married, have kids the right way, and have a career, and
Mm-hmm.
do something with your life. The American
Mm-hmm.
dream is pretty much buy a house, own a
Yes.
car, and you're straight, right?
Right.
And that's what they ask, and that's what I did. And so I was happy to prove those other family members wrong because
Mm-hmm.
they had it out for me. And it
Mm-hmm.
does hurt you because
It
it's kind
does
of like,
hurt.
dang, like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Like, wow. So I think about the Bible where it says you speak life into people or you could speak death, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I focus now on speaking life into people, especially when they call me. I don't care if it's kids or adults or family members.
Mm-hmm.
When they tell me, Raina, I'm going through this, I'm like, hold on. I know this sounds weird, but let me open the scripture. It's depression. I want to commit suicide. Hold on. Let me talk about this. And
Mm-hmm.
then I kind of like grab into different things and let them know, like, God knew us before we were in our mother's womb. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he set us apart, like you're loved and you're special, and you don't have to commit suicide because I'm going to give you one good thing why you should live. There's a lot of people that aborted children that didn't come on this earth.
Mm-hmm.
There's people that had miscarriages that didn't come on this earth. But you have life, which means you have
Yes.
purpose. God sent you here for a purpose.
Amen.
Now let's find your purpose.
Amen.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then it's like, what the heck? She just called talking about I'm gonna commit suicide, and now she's like, wow, like, okay, all right,
Mm-hmm.
what's the next journey,
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm a natural life coach person because I believe that God gives me the gift of discernment and discerning of spirits to help people.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm older and wiser in the word, um, as a woman of God, I don't use my personal opinion anymore. I open the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's a question, then I try to answer it with the best positive way to answer things, right?
Yes.
Like if somebody calls me, girl, I'm ready to divorce my husband. I'm not gonna be like, girl, do it. Like, no,
Yeah.
I'm like, well, hold on. Let's talk about marriage. What's going on,
Exactly.
And let's talk about forgiveness, and let's talk about how maybe you need to do marriage counseling before you
Mm-hmm.
throw in the towel, right?
Exactly.
So speaking life.
Because I've heard once there's this pastor that I listened to, and he said, with divorce, you can forfeit the blessings of so many other generations behind you, right? You can not only your blessings for yourself, but blessings for your children and for their children. So I believe that wholeheartedly.
And it's hard. It's a hard process. I've been
Yes.
married for 17 years. It ain't easy.
It ain't easy.
But I'm still holding on.
I'm married 16 years.
I'm still holding on. Yep. But yeah, speaking life into people is so important.
Mm-hmm.
So, so when you graduated from high school, what was your vision?
So, like I said, I had so many different ideas of what I wanted to do.
Yes.
And I was working as a custodian for the school district
Okay.
while I was in high school. And I was just always a little hustler.
Yeah,
and stuff,
yeah, definitely. I'm like, you're a Libra, Capricorn, which way?
Aquarius.
Aquarius. Oh, yes.
And I wanted to do all kinds of things. So I was going to school, and I graduated, and I was still working as a custodian, and then I was going to college. And I really wanted to focus on becoming a social worker.
Yes.
And then somebody introduced me to the real estate business. This was,
nice. Yes.
I was second year in college and getting close to graduating, but I started partying, and I started going out there and, running amok and doing whatever I wanted, because I moved out of my house when I was about 18, 19. I moved out on my own. I had my own apartment. But I knew that, okay, what else is there for me? So when I worked for the school district, I worked nights, and it was kind of dangerous for me because I had guys leaving me flowers on my car and, stalking
those
me.
Days.
It was scary.
Yeah.
So I just said, okay, I have to make a decision. When somebody introduced this opportunity to get into real estate, I knew that I was either going to continue to work as a custodian and just because it was a great job. I loved it. Actually, it was a lot of fun. I got away with a lot, And the money was good at the time. Obviously, I was what, 19 years old, and back in the day, I was making like $16 an
Oh
hour.
yeah, that was
So
a lot. Yes, that was a lot.
yeah. And so I had to decide. So I just said, you know what, I'm going to do both. So
Mm-hmm.
I actually quit school, and I was doing custodian and real estate at the same time
Okay.
until I replaced my income to and
Yes.
did real estate full time.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
I started as a loan officer actually.
Yes.
Hmm.
So out there for the young ladies or young men that want to get into real estate, what are your basic like one, two, three steps of becoming a realtor? Like what is the process?
You know what? Just know that it's you have to have that entrepreneur
Mm-hmm.
mindset, right? You have to know that it's not a consistent income that you're going to be
Yes.
receiving, but what you put into it is what you can receive.
Yes.
And I would recommend starting off with a company that can support you,
Mm-hmm.
because a company that can offer you not only just support for you to learn the business,
Yes.
but it's also emotional support.
Yes.
And so I've now with a company that offers me all of that, and I
Mm-hmm.
prayed about it because I've left two different companies and
Yes.
came back. And I came back for a reason, is because they offered not only, hey, you're gonna have training on learning this and that, but they also have Bible studies. They
Wow,
also
that's
have
good.
our TNG. I'm with TNG Real Estate.
Mm-hmm.
It's one broker and several
Yes.
managers. We have one in Long Beach, one in Whittier. That's the one I belong to.
Yes.
And honestly, they're the most supportive people I could ever have asked for. Even when I
Wow.
left the company, they were just like, "I'm here for you, whatever you need."
Yes, that's the people I like.
Yes, whenever you're ready to
You're
come
welcome. Yeah,
home.
come back home when you're ready. You can go
Yeah,
out there and do your
go.
thing, but come
The
back.
grass isn't always
And
greener.
that's how I feel. I be telling people, go, it's okay, just go.
Exactly.
You can come back anytime. No hard feelings. Like the
Yeah.
mother bear telling the children, go ahead and do your
Yes.
thing.
And for those who want to be in the business, like really align with someone that you connect with, because
Yes.
that's going to be your support system. That's going to be you have to have that support system. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult, because
Yes.
sometimes it can feel lonely in our real estate business.
So I have one question since we're talking about real estate. So I heard somebody share this, so that's why I'm asking the question because I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
this is very interesting. So, like for example, my mom owns her house and she had a 30-year loan,
Mm-hmm.
right? And she's still in the process of the 30-year loan, but she owes like 100 grand, let's say, right?
Mm-hmm.
And somebody said that she could refinance the house on a shorter term versus 30 years so it could be cheaper. Is
Yes.
that a true thing? That, like how does that
Um.
work? I'm just curious because I was just like, I
Well,
never heard that before.
obviously the payment is the initial payment is based on the amount that when she purchased the home for.
Yes, was yeah, a lot more money
So
than
if it was
yeah.
a lot more, then she can look into refinancing for a shorter term if that's what she wishes. But
Yeah.
it's not always going to lower her monthly payment. It
Okay,
just
okay,
depends
okay.
on what the rate is.
Yes.
And if something that that she's looking into, I would say like look into it to see if it's actually a benefit for her.
Yeah.
If sometimes it might not make sense to start all over, because if she has, how many years does she have left on the loan?
If I'm correct, I think 5 years.
I wouldn't know.
Just leave it alone, right? Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. But I
Yeah.
just thought when I heard that, I was like, that's interesting. You know
Yeah,
what
I mean,
mean?
unless you're gonna get cash out, unless you want to do something else with it, but otherwise,
Yeah.
I mean, why? Because you're gonna start all over unless you're already at a 5 year term. It doesn't make any
Yes.
sense. No.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So, they say that the market is going to drop
Mm-hmm.
supposedly starting March or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when when the market drops and people can't afford their house, like could they come to you for a short sale or how to save their house or
So when in my years of real estate, I've kind of done it all. I was
yes.
in business when the market crashed, and so we
Hmm.
did help people with short sales. I did REOs, all of it.
Yes.
I'm hoping that it doesn't happen again to too many. I would hate for people to lose their home
Yes.
or that they can't afford, but the situation
It's real,
is real.
right? Yes.
And yeah, they can call me to look for different options. I like to educate people overall. I didn't get into real estate to just sell property. I got into real estate to help people. And if it
Yes.
means for me to help you figure out a way that you can save your home, then
Hmm.
that's the first thing I'm going to do.
Well, let's talk about Relocation Queen,
Yes.
okay? Because I love it. I love it. Like that name, Relocation Queen. Like I call
Yes.
myself La Reina de Inglewood,
Yes.
the Queen of Inglewood. And it's like, okay, the Queen of Inglewood meets with Relocation Queen,
Yes.
So I want you to tell the viewers, give them an insight of Relocation Queen.
So it came about because in real estate, you have to figure out ways on adding value,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the reality is that once COVID hit, people were leaving. The majority of the sales were people relocating out of state,
Yes.
relocating to different countries. And so I wanted to add something that was going to really add value.
Mm-hmm.
And so I partnered up with a company that does different custom trips. ITA Global is a company that will tailor a trip for you no matter where you want to go. So I
Wow.
met them on a women's empowerment trip, which was absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
We met in Jamaica. We went on a trip with Roxy from the radio
Yes.
station, and her trip was epic. And if the purpose was to really think outside the box, grow, and learn how you can succeed. And I absolutely loved everything that they did for us on this trip. So the two owners happened to be on the trip with us, and I said, "Well, how?
Wow.
I just want to know because I love to travel. I
Mm-hmm.
want to add something to my business. It's absolutely unique." And I said, "Would you be able to assist me in putting together a trip for my clients that might be thinking about relocating internationally?"
Yes.
Believing Before Seeing, a new bestseller by Candace Barr. Order your copy today.
So they absolutely said, absolutely, we could do that. As a matter of fact, we already have something similar in Panama.
Wow. Panama.
So they invited me to Panama. We went and I looked at all the investment opportunities
Mm-hmm.
over there, which I absolutely loved.
Yes.
And then they showed me around. I said, this is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted to add
Yes.
value to my clients. And then recently we teamed up with Ahí Les Va Mexico. Ahí Les Va is a
Okay.
company that's brought to you by Diana Zapaterias Dianas.
Mm-hmm.
They're a company that really believes in helping the Latino community.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And so they have developments in Mexico. They have developments in El Salvador. So they asked me to do the same project for them for
Yeah.
Mexico. So now we have
Wow.
investment trips going to Cancun, and it's absolutely
Nice.
amazing. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
I love
So
that.
we have trips that are tailored for people that are thinking, I want to think outside the box. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure if I'm ready to retire, but I need to add something to my portfolio.
Yes.
Maybe something that can continue to generate income while they prepare themselves for
Yes.
retirement.
Of course.
Or I just need to advance or grow my portfolio in real estate. And so we do investment trips
Mm-hmm.
or real estate discovery trips.
Yes.
So it's not a hard sell. It's really, we make it a lot of fun. The trips are exciting. We show you what Panama's about. We show you what Mexico's about. So you can absolutely fall in love, have fun. And if it happens to be that you fall in love with the property, you fall in love with the
Yes.
location, and you want to make an offer, we have all of the team set to be able to teach you. So you're going to learn
Wow.
how does the financing work? How does the citizenship work? What
Mm-hmm.
are the incentives for expats, for
Yes.
retirees? So we have it all set up. It's just a matter of you guys coming along.
Dang, we have to do a trip for 2024.
Yes.
Like my goodness, that's amazing. It made me think about like my birthday, like
Mm-hmm.
all those women, like just all
Yes.
of us go.
Yes.
Like wow.
And if you happen to fall in love with the place
Yes,
and you
and you
say,
go
you know
ahead
what, I
and
could
get
see
it.
myself buying something here, then we're there to
Yes.
facilitate
Wow.
facilitate that as well.
So what about people that like for example live in California and they get hired for a government job in Washington D.C. Could you
Mm-hmm.
help them relocate?
Absolutely.
Shh,
Mm-hmm.
man, wow.
Yes.
Well, since we're talking about that, I want to talk about how proud I am of you because, being community based, I believe in wraparound services for a
Yes.
client. So
Yes.
now we're talking business aspect, but not nonprofit. So you being a real estate agent, you have an extra tool, a resource for your clients to do life insurance, right?
Yes.
To protect their home, protect their legacy, protect their family.
Yes.
And so I want you to elaborate how important it is as a realtor to add that tool to become a life insurance agent to be able to have these resources for your clients.
I think it's absolutely important. As a realtor, my job is to not only educate you on how you can obtain a property, how you grow your legacy, how do you generate wealth through real estate. It really means that that I have to also teach you on how to protect your investment. How do you protect
Yes.
your family? Sometimes the person works so hard and saves every penny to put into this home,
Yes.
and I've had the experience where I've lost two of my clients after they
Hmm.
purchased the home,
Yes.
and they didn't have life insurance, or they did have life insurance, and that's why my clients are like, I'm just so grateful that my husband had life insurance,
Yes.
or I wish that my family had life insurance, because now I would have, we wouldn't be in the situation where, one, we have to have a GoFundMe for their
Yes. Which
burial.
is like, man, that's
Two is now they're not, the wife or whoever is left as a survivor is not trying to figure out, how am I going to pay for this house?
yes.
And so I decided that I needed to add a service to my business to be able to help with that. So I collaborated with
Yes.
PHP, helping people. And I started referring them my business at first. I didn't want to do much with the business, but they were taking care of all of my clients.
Yes.
And now I decided, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take a bigger role
Hmm.
and personally educate the clients about life insurance.
And you also added a bigger role too, because now you have that connection for a living trust.
Correct.
Man.
Yeah.
So
So
talk about that a little bit.
yes.
You know, today is your day, girl. Okay, so.
I love it. You know what? It's like I said, it's a wraparound.
Hmm.
We have to educate our real estate isn't just about selling, it's about really protecting our families.
Yes.
So do you have a living trust that protects your assets? Because if you don't, guess what it's gonna go? It's gonna go to probate. It's gonna go
Yes.
to government. A living trust will protect your home and will protect your family from any disputes. You kind of just
Yes.
set all, your what your wishes are in stone, and protecting your family overall for everything. If
Yes.
you're a mother, if you're parents, you need a living trust.
Hmm.
If you're a young adult, you need to have a power of attorney or healthcare directives.
Yes.
You need that in place because somebody has to make decisions on your behalf. So I always educate my young adults because I have a 22-year-old daughter.
Yes.
I need to make sure that she has what she needs. And all of the family members that I know, or homeowners that I know, I just tell them, this is what you need. Now, not everybody's gonna
Yes.
accept it. Some people are gonna be like, well, it's
But
not for me, I don't
but
need it.
some will, because they know that they trust you and they value your opinion.
Yes.
Yes. For the ones that don't, it's just they're gonna have to learn the hard way. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
I did my part. I do my part by talking to them and
Yes.
letting them know there's resources about getting a proper life insurance, a proper living trust,
Yes.
and then just educating them, giving them the education on the difference of them, right?
Yes.
And that's all I could do. And
Yes.
hopefully they take my advice. And if not, then I did my part.
Yes, you did. Yes, at least you can go to bed and sleep
Yes,
comfortable.
exactly.
And you know what's so crazy is that what got me involved in life insurance in the business is there's a story behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the time, I was doing gang intervention in Pico Union Rampart. So when you do gang intervention, you're working with gang members,
Mm-hmm.
and we're seeing a lot of people get murdered and
Mm-hmm.
killed. The yellow tape situation, dealing with the parents. And I remember at this time, I wasn't an agent. It was a girl named Flora,
Mm-hmm.
and she was with Rural Financial Group, and she had invited me to an event that I attended. And at the time, it just didn't fit at the time,
Mm-hmm.
but I knew that she was a resource just in case, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the mother, she lived in a one-bedroom apartment, but they had a bunch of people in that apartment in Pico Union.
Mm-hmm.
And her son, she had one son in prison, and she had one son that was, that came out of youth authority, that was on probation. So that's how he became my client. And so fast forward one day in our family meeting, she requested to learn about life insurance, which was totally odd because
Mm-hmm.
she was um, a person that got her, her green card, and then got her social security number,
Mm-hmm.
and, became a
Mm-hmm.
citizen,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so she got a little raise, and she asked me about it. She said a coworker of her was talking about the importance of life insurance, and she was over just listening the
Mm-hmm.
conversation and during lunch, but it was on her mind. And I said, you know what, I have somebody for you, but it has to be after work,
Mm-hmm.
like work hours because I didn't want to be a conflict of interest, right? She's a case manager and then she's going to be trying to do her thing. So I didn't want to get her in trouble. So I said, yeah, have somebody. So Flora, met with this mother. And, I always educate people that, for people that are low income, term insurance is the cheapest and best insurance because you get more for your buck, right? And so she got a policy for $250,000 on her son, and she got a $250,000 term insurance for her.
Yes.
So it was cheaper to get her a 15-year because of her budget, but she got the 30-year for her son because I think he was 18. Yeah, because he came out. Yeah, he was 18. So when I was working with him, he was 17. Then his birthday came, he became 18. And so fast forward, when you do gang intervention, you get this BlackBerry with a racer, we call a racer, where the phone can ring anytime and you got to get up and go. And during this time, it was before Christmas.
Okay.
And I got a racer alert that a young man got shot in the head, Latino, in their 20s. And so when I arrived, I don't, as an ex-gay member, I don't go in the yellow tape. I just stay outside the yellow tape. And plus, just with educating people is if you go inside the yellow tape, you can taint the evidence or whatever, right? So I didn't want to do that anyways. But just as an ex-gay member, I just don't do it anyway. And what people say on the other side, yeah, they'd be like, "Wait a minute, she getting cozy with the cops," like, no. Yeah. And so that client of mine's, the person that I saw was the client.
Okay.
Was the son.
No. And
so I had to go to the mother, and she was up, and she had her coffee, and she was waiting for her son. No. And I don't speak Spanish, so she just told me in Spanish, "Is my son okay?" And I said, "Tu hijo es muerto." And then she just started crying, and she started telling me, I knew it, like that's why I was up. And then so that happened. And then within that week, she called me and she says, "Raina, I received a check. Can you come to my house?" I had no idea because I forgot what had happened because I was in the front porch with the client working on lifecycle goals, and Flora was working with the mother. And that personal business was in my business, And so when she called me, she says, "I have a check for $250,000." And I'm like, oh, mind you, this woman, this is like a $2 million for her.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So she tells me, "What do I do with it?" And I said, "Let's find a mortuary and you sign off the check and they'll give you the rest of the money once everything is done and they'll take care of everything." And so she was able to bury her son in a beautiful Catholic ceremony without doing a car wash, because I used to do car washes all the time, fundraising. So she was able to bury her child, mourn, not stress to get money, but mourn the right way. And then whatever was left off was still a lot of money. And so she was able to get a lawyer to get her son out of prison because it was the Rampart scandal.
Wow.
They had, planted guns and drugs. Yeah. So he came home. During the process, he came home. She says, "I still have this money left over," which was still a lot of money. And at the time, Moreno Valley was the place everybody was going to. It was quite nice. And she purchased the house cash and started her business. And her son that came out of prison worked, and her new boyfriend, they got married and whatever through the whole process, like within the 12-month bracket. Yeah. And that made me understand that even though I wasn't an agent, I was able to help that family. So yes, she lost a son and the money cannot replace her child, but it took her out of a rut.
It gave her a fresh start.
Yes, it did.
It gave her a fresh start. Yes. And I'm sure that her son would want the same thing for her mom, for his mother to have an opportunity to get out of that life. Yes. And and this is why I love you so much, because you and I mean, obviously you work for a World Financial Group. Yes. You believe in the same thing, but we're not
beefing. We're supporting each other.
We support one another. Yes, this is why we can collaborate. This is what it's about. And really is to educate, because there's not enough people being educated on why we should have this. And one of my friends was like, "You know what? If you're broke, you need a life insurance the most. Like you number
just
one.
In case. Yes, just in case.
Just in case. Oh, and you know what? Life is unpredictable.
Yes, it is.
And
that's a good word.
And death is actually guaranteed to absolutely everyone.
Yes, it is.
And I learned about life insurance because my husband lost his mother at a very young age. Yes. He was 23 We lost our first son when he was 4 months old. And so for us, we
Oh,
knew that it's something that we have to have in place because we just
yes.
never know.
Oh no.
And I don't think that I believe that God's going to bless my children with a long life, but I don't
Yes.
want to leave my children with the stress of having to figure out, like, what does mom want for her funeral? How are we going to
Exactly.
pay for this? Like, no, I'm setting everything, having everything set so they don't have to worry about any of it.
Yes, man, that is powerful. And my condolences regarding your child
Thank
because,
you.
you know, my pain is not close to yours at all. But, having miscarriages, I know how it feels to have a baby in the womb with a
Mm-hmm.
heartbeat
Mm-hmm.
and no longer there, right?
Right.
So to lose a 4-year-old child, I
four
mean,
months.
4 months,
Yeah.
that, how was that healing journey?
Um, it was difficult. It was very
Yes.
difficult. It was something that I still deal with every day because obviously I have my kids that are growing, and
Yes.
as they're growing, I always imagine my son James, like,
Me too.
how what would he look like and what would he be
Yes.
doing right now? But it was all I could tell you is that my son James, he showed me what love was for the very first time.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Um, and to this day, I'm very grateful for that
Yes.
experience. And God just blessed me with so much.
Yes.
Like I literally, I can't. I don't think I ever knew what love was until I looked at my son for the first time.
Oh my God, that is beautiful.
To see him look at me and
Yes.
to feel like the most beautiful person in the world.
Yes. Oh, that is so
Thank you.
beautiful. That is so beautiful. And we're in a safe space, and
Yeah.
like I said, you being vulnerable is a beautiful thing because, remember we talked about that life will have their ups and
Ups and
downs,
downs. Yeah.
and you're a strong woman, because sometimes, those kind of things break people,
Mhm. Mhm.
and what I look at too, like I lost 5 children before my twins. So I would
Yeah,
have been
I
a mother of
remember.
10.
I
Just
can't. Oh my
imagine that. Oh my God, I'm ready, but my gosh, 10, oh Lord. And so when I think about the 5 that are in heaven, I
Mhm.
always say to myself, Mommy's going to see you one day. And I
Yes.
can't wait
Oh
when
my
I
God.
go to heaven and see you. So that's how I
Mhm.
feel
Yes.
for you. Like when you cross over
And
to
see
the
him.
other side, he's gonna be over there
I
with that
know.
hand, like, come on, mom.
I know.
So
I
it's
just
it's that's what keeps me um with hope,
yes.
with hope, and
Exactly.
and don't feel like guilty or like in the sadness of woulda, should, could have kind of mentality.
Mhm.
More of, you know what, Lord, things happen for a reason. I
Oh
I
yeah.
don't fully understand everything yet, but I know that when I cross over, I'm gonna see my 5 children.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I believe it. You're gonna have a whole kindergarten
Tribe,
waiting
right?
for you. Whole time.
A whole tribe. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Miss Linda, for just opening up, sharing your testimony. How can our viewers find you on Purpose and Passion?
At Relocation Queen and on Instagram, you can find me there, and Casita Linda Realtor. And I'd be more than happy to connect with you guys if you guys need my support in any way possible. I do believe in having passion for whatever you do in life because passion comes success and financial success where you can be a
Yes.
blessing to others.
Yes.
And I think that's my purpose. If I had to figure out, like, what am I working so hard for? I have a passion to help, to be able to
Mm-hmm.
give back not only to my own family, but give back to young ladies like Hosanna Apostolic Church is a church
Yes.
that's dear to me because Lord knows I would not be here today if
Wow.
it wouldn't have been for the women that were praying for me at that church.
Wow, what a great way to end Purpose and Passion.
Yes.
Wow, thank you. Today you educated us,
Hmm.
empowered us, and taught us awareness.
Thank you.
Well, this is Raina Carrillo signing out with Purpose and Passion. Don't forget, you guys, go to YouTube to Luxe Media Studios. Make sure you like,
Yes.
comment, and subscribe, which is super important. Show us some love. This is Raina Carrillo signing out. Until next time, peace.